one thing, Chairman, into the new season, how's progress on the field and off the field?
I think progress is being made all the time. I think certainly it's a very difficult time is the first month of the season because you've got games coming thick and fast. We've had, I think, 7 games so far now in various competitions, and it's been a start to the season where we've played some really good football at times. There's still a group that's knitting together. It's going to take that with the amount of players that have come in and out through the course of the summer. It's going to take time to gel them players together. But I'm happy with the business that's being done over the transfer window, for sure.
Well, off the field, all the changes around the club, you've moved a couple of the rooms around. Is that all going to plan?
Yeah, not as good as what we wanted it to be yet. I think August is a difficult month because people take summer holidays, so people aren't really looking to book corporate facilities and hiring things out. It's always tough. It's August, so it's something. Hopefully now we're coming into September and kids are going back to school and coming back off the holidays, that people want to start thinking, well, I'll take a table and a corporate table to come in. So it's trying to bring in extra revenue, which is something that's key to the club. We've tried to move some rooms around, and people that have been in them rooms have really enjoyed it and said they've had a great experience being in there. But we've got limited facilities at the moment, and that's something we need to work on, which is what we're trying to do by doing this stadium move, is increasing the facilities. And we played Walsall on Saturday, and they bring in 1.5 million a year from functions that are non-football related, non-match day related. So they've got a huge income stream that they're bringing in as a club with a similar sort of size fan base as ourselves. So it's difficult because we want to try and increase that, but it's something that we're working in progress in the short term to try and help.
The biggest talking point amongst fans is the number of players that have left over the summer and at the start of the season, either by being released or in the last 4 or 5 months being sold. It's a business, it's about improving the business, surely.
It is a business, it is about improving the business, and I feel that we have improved the squad from where we was last season. Certainly for me, we got promotion out of League 2 into League 1, and it was our first season in League 1, and we wanted to give the players that got the promotion with us the opportunity to try and perform in there, and some of them couldn't do it at the levels, and some of them could, and it was about trying to bring the freshness into the squad. And I think if you look at most football clubs, they will try and bring that freshness in, and you see it with the transfer deadline day of yesterday. People are trying to do the business, so we're always trying to improve, we're always on the lookout to improve, and that's what the scouting staff and the recruitment staff go and look at, and to see if there's ways that we can bring better players in. But it's a business ultimately at the end of the day, and sometimes there's decisions that we have to make which are tough, but we always do what we feel is the right decisions for the football club. And certainly now, when you look at the business that we've been done, we sold Leon Clark in the summer, and people might have looked at that and thought, well, he scored 18 goals for us last season. We always was on the lookout to try and bring somebody else in, but it's a time in a game which is very difficult to try and bring in the recruits that you want to bring in, because other clubs are also trying to bring in them recruits, and they're not looking to let players go. Certainly that's really difficult from our side, because you're trying to target players, and we've eventually got James Vaughan in, who was a player that once we knew he was got availability to take him, then we wanted to move in that quickly with it. James wasn't available in the summer, so if people say to go try and get him, he wasn't available. Birmingham City have brought in other players, which has allowed them to maybe let James go. So when we knew of that, we had to move quickly, but that also has an impact in our squad as well, because bringing somebody of James into the squad, we've got to maybe move a player on as well, and that decision is not taken lightly. We look at everything and think, well, how can we improve, how can we get better, and certainly Nicky Clark has come in over the summer. He was available to do so, but it was a tough decision to let Nicky go, and the plan was originally to let Nicky go out on loan. We had a London club interested in taking Nicky on loan, and Nicky wasn't too keen on moving further down south from Scotland. The opportunity arose that he could go back to Scotland, and we thought it would be a clean break for him to go back up to Scotland, and that was his choice in doing so. And I think when you've got players like Anthony Dudley coming through, obviously we've got Hallam Hope, we've got James Vaughan and Tom Pope, his opportunities of getting game time was going to be restricted. So it was a decision that we made, and we thought it was the right thing to do, but it, because James Vaughan was made available that later on in the window, that we had to make that decision.
It is a new squad.
It is. It is. We think we brought 12 players in over the summer, and it is a new squad. But it's what I said there. There's got to be a freshness to it. We've got to now compete. We've tried to look at players that have been successful out of League One or played in the Championship. You look at the likes of Neil Dans, James Vaughan, Leon Barnett, Anthony Kay, who've all played in games where they played in the Championship. You also look at Ben Williams, played for Bradford City, was in the playoffs last season, 27 clean sheets he had. So players that we've looked at is just, like I've said, well, they've been in the top half of this. They've either got promotion out of League One or they've had experience in the Championship. Tom Pope has been very successful at this level as well, and it's about how we can try and bring them players together, what we want to try and do with the players in the squad, and bring a bit of youthfulness also through, because that's a big play for us, is to try and bring youth players in at the same time. But it's got to be right. It has to be right for us to bring them players in, because if we bring a player in from the academy, it takes time, and we don't have an under-23s.
You can't go from the youth team straight to the first team. It's too big a gap.
Very, very difficult, because we've got an under-18s, and we've got to remember 3 years ago we didn't have any control over our youth policy, and 3 years ago we couldn't give any of our youth players away to them. When it came to the scholarship at the termination dates, the clubs weren't interested in our players. So the work that has gone on behind the scenes is absolutely incredible. I spoke to Ryan Kidd the other day, and we have a regular strategy meeting, myself, David, and the youth team, to talk about the strategy and the plan to develop these players. What people don't see is these youth players train with the first team, 2 or 3 of them, and they're training with the first team every day, which gives them a huge experience. And the first team players, if they're not up to it, will let you know if they're not up to the grade, because they want to win, they want to be the professional. And that's something that work behind the scenes that goes on, is we have a strategy and a plan of what we can try and do to develop. And it's very difficult, like I said, to go from an under-18s to step into a first team. There's not many any league in the country that can do it. And this is why they've created the under-23 policy. Now, when the clubs go into this under-23 programme, it costs a lot of money to run an under-23 programme as well. And it's something where they step into that environment, and then they get a bit more game time through there. And certainly when, we sold Matty Foles to Everton, and we've just recently sold Jack Ruddy to Wolves as well. And both of them they're going to go in their under-23 system. Matty's been playing for the under-23s at Everton as well. And it's something where physically, Matty's not ready for League One football. If he comes up against a Tom Pope in this division, he's going to struggle. Because technically he's very good, but the physicality side of it, he's not at that level yet. And similar with Jack, and it's very difficult because you've got to plan to get that process to come through. But we looked at Jack, and we looked at the deal with Jack with Wolves, and we knew he could go. He wanted to go as well. He asked me to see if he could leave to go to Wolves. But we also had another player coming through called Cameron McCulloch. Cameron McCulloch's 6'4". He's been at Manchester City and Sunderland. We've managed to be able to bring him in here as well. He's 17, so he's classed as a second-year scholar. And I went to watch our under-18s against Wigan, who pipped us to the league title last season. And I went to watch them the other Saturday in the pouring rain, and got wet through. But I was so proud of the boys. They won the game 2-1. They dominated the game. They dominated Wigan. They passed them off the park. They won the game 2-1, and it was great because you've got people like Mika, who's 15 and made his debut in the Checkatrade Trophy the other day. He's playing in the game as well, and they're going to make mistakes. You saw it the other night. Mika came on after his couple of first passes. He made a bit of a mistake. They're going to make them mistakes, but when you're trying to fight for 3 points, and it's important on a game day, and you want to win the game, and you've got all the other first team lads there who want to win, and it's important for them to win. He's trying to bed them in slowly, and certainly we've tried to do that with Anthony Dudley as well. I thought Anthony Dudley was superb against Morecambe in the Checkatrade Trophy, and he's been out on loan at Guiseley. We've sent him out and got him that experience. He did very well at Guiseley. He scored 8 goals. He's come back into the first team environment, and certainly for us it was a chance to give him the opportunity to play the other night, and he did exceptionally well. We've had a number of inquiries to take Anthony Dudley out on loan. We don't want to. We want him fighting for a first team appearance this season. We want him fighting for that because we believe he's ready to be around the first team, and he will be around the first team. But we've got 4 strikers at the club. there with James Vaughan, Tom Pope, Alan Hope and Anthony Dudley. So them 4 strikers have got to fight for the positions in there, and Anthony Dudley will get his chance as well, and the manager believes that he'll get his chance, and that's why we've got to keep on progressing him. So that was another reason why we were prepared to let Nicky Clark go, because when you've got Anthony Dudley coming through, I think he's probably ahead of Nicky in terms of it. So there's a strategic plan that we're trying to do, and certainly when we're talking to the youth lads, and Ryan said to me the other day, we've got a recruitment and a strategy meeting with the academy, and he said to me that it'd be easier to tell you, Chairman, of the players that we don't have interest in than the players that we do have interest in from other clubs at the moment. And that's incredible from where we are 3 years ago, because we've got a number of different scouts who are all coming to the games, who are all Championship or Premier League clubs, who are looking at our players to do. And it is part of the business model. It is part of the business model that we can develop players and we'll sell them on, and we'll look at doing the business. And we've done business over the summer now with selling first team players on. And we've sold first team players on like Chris Hussey, Leon Clark and Danny Rose, which we've taken fees for. And those players have gone out now, and they're at all their clubs. But we've been able to bring in other players like Neil Dans and James Vaughan, who we've not paid a transfer fee for. And we've been able to bring that quality into the squad that we believe. And it's something that we want players that want to come and play for this football club as well, and want to have pride in wearing the shirt, because we want to win every game. Well, I certainly do, and we want to win every game, and it means a lot to me to try and progress up the table, and that's the ambition of the club. But the work that the youth and the academy has done is fantastic, and David is very influential in that as well, because he has regular meetings with Ryan, and we talk about how we can progress them into the first team. But you can also, if it's not right for them, it can be detrimental to the kids if they get in there and they're not having a great time.
Is there a plan in there somewhere to put an under-23 side in place?
We've talked about it, we've looked at it. It's a good question, because it's something that we've looked at to see whether it's also something whether it's competitive enough. And it's a real difficult and probably topical conversation, because we speak to a lot of other clubs about it. Some clubs don't like it, the under-23s that they've got. You've obviously got some clubs now have entered the Checker Trade Trophy as an under-23s as well. And it's a difficult process. It really is a difficult process to try and look at, and obviously financials. I used to like the old Pontins Reserve League myself. I thought that was a great thing, because you had reserve football and you had teams that would play. I remember watching a Man United Reserve League, and they had some of the star players coming back from injury, and they had 3 or 4 of them in the side, and it was special for people to go watch that. So, and it gave a great experience for young lads coming through, playing with them, against them type of players, and also with them type of players. So I think there's a gap. I really do think there's a gap at the moment, because whilst the under-18s is a competitive level and we're doing extremely well at that, it's a big step up to playing first team football, a big step up, and certainly League One football. So it's difficult to get that balance, and it's something that we've looked at to try and how can we bridge that gap. But again, finances are also a big part of that.
You can't just go out and get 22, 23, under-23 players, can you?
No, you can't, and you look at it now, whereas Manchester City's under-23s, a lot of them are the 19, 20-year-old lads that they've got in, but they've obviously got huge financial resources that they can play there. They're in a Category 1 elite team, and that they can play against other elite sides. But there's also a question about the competitiveness of them under-23s. That's the worry that they have. I've watched a lot of them games myself. And at the end of the game, you've maybe got 200-300 people there, and at the end of the game, people are actually bothered about the result. And obviously on a Saturday, we're all bothered about what the result is. Yes, performance is key, but we want the result. We want to win games, and that's why they're trying to let people go out on loan. And certainly, when we brought in people like Kean Bryan and Tom Walker in, is because they've had a bit more experience. They're older than our group of players. They've had that bit more of experience as well, and they're ready to get playing competitive fixtures. That's what they want to do. We've looked at our squad and thought, well, where do we get players coming through who have got that same sort of ilk? And Tom Walker playing left-sided, he'll be cover for obviously for Danny Maird, and for financially it was right for us as a club. He gives us that cover. He's played games, he's played league games as well, and it's difficult. Whereas yes, we want to give our youth players a chance, and certainly so does David, we want to do that, but it's got to be the right time. And at the moment, we don't have a left-sided player from our youth academy that would be ready to step up to that level. So it's something where we're trying to work on and develop on, but it is difficult. And bringing Kean Bryan in as well, you know, there was 6-7 clubs after him to come in, and he was actually travelling over yesterday to another club, and we actually stopped him on the M62 via at Leeds to turn around and come back and convince him to sign for us. That's how deadline day works, unfortunately. And certainly Tom Walker had a couple of clubs interested in signing him as well, and he was in London yesterday, ready to sign for another club.
What's the remit for the manager this season? Is it to carry on from last season, improve on last season?
We want to improve. That is, you know, we want to improve. We're always wanting to improve in everything that we do, in every aspect of the football club. We're wanting to improve. I'm quite demanding in terms of how I want the club to improve in all aspects. So for us, you know, I want to try and improve. Certainly on the last season, I want to win every game. You know, I'm probably the worst loser that we've got. You know, and it's very difficult for me. You know, because I want to win with performances as well. I also think performances are key, but we just want to keep on improving. And I don't really like to say right, you know, this is us and we're going to get promotion, or we're going to do. It's a case of let's take each game as it comes and let's go in there and try and win each game. And if you win more than you lose, then obviously you're going to be successful. We have a plan in terms of where we want to be as a club. I've made no secret about where I want to be as a club. My ambition is to be in the Championship. And the ambition is there to be in the Championship. And I said that I'd try and achieve that within 5 years, you know, as a 5-year period. I've still got 2 years left to achieve that. So we're well on course for the plan. We're well on course. Nothing's changed from that plan, and we're well on course to do that. But we've got to do it in the right way. And things change, things you know, evolve whilst we're in the club. And there's been things that we've seen where it's exciting for me. Going into this season, because I believe that we've got a squad of players now who there's real potential with this squad, and I personally believe it's a better squad than last season.
I see you most away games, every away game. I see the way you watch the game. You must have gone through every emotion possible last weekend at Walsall.
Yeah, first half was a hard watch. I'm not going to make no secret of it. I'm a fan. You know, first half was a very, very hard watch, and I can understand fans' frustration there, because you know that it wasn't a good performance, certainly defensively, and you know, it could have been worse. You know, we could have conceded more goals than what it was. But you look at that, and you know, I wanted a reaction. I wanted a reaction in the second half. I wanted a reaction from half time. I wanted to see how the lads would pull together, and how the group would pull together. And obviously, you know, as much as everybody can be critical of things, we can also be very positive with things as well, because the second half performance was unbelievable.
It took them 4 minutes to answer your question.
Yeah, and it was unbelievable, because we came out all guns a-blazing and really went at the team, the togetherness of the group, and I saw what it meant to each other at the end of the game when the final whistle went. And I think some of the lads were disappointed that we didn't win the game. I was disappointed that we didn't win the game, because we've had a couple of chances to do that. But the effort that the lads put in that second half was fantastic. And it showed the togetherness as a group that they've all got. And it showed the togetherness of the group that they've got for the coaching staff and the manager as well, because the belief in terms of, I've seen teams where it's 3-0 down at half time and that's it. It's a shut up shop scenario and let's keep it at 3-0. To come out and have a go and attack a team and probably should have won the game and play in the manner that we did. It was exciting to watch, because every time we attacked, we looked like we were going to score. And that for me showed the togetherness of the group that we've got in its infancy, because you've got to look, James Vaughan only trained, you know, 1.5 days before the game, and he's not really had much time to get to know the other lads as well. And so it's difficult when you're bringing in these recruits, and now with the window shutting, it gives the chance for the squad to get settled, and that's the group of players that we're taking forward. But you know, the reaction was what I was looking for, and that was, you know, it spoke volumes to me. That was a fantastic reaction by the players, and now we've got to kick on for the rest of the season.
Transfer window. Why do clubs leave it to the last day? Why is it descending into madness? Phone calls at midnight from chairman.
I think it's difficult because clubs, it's a domino effect. clubs are looking to try and get their targets in. They might not be able to get that target in for whatever reason, and then they defer onto another target, and then all of a sudden that the club that they're trying to get them from either gets their player in or doesn't get their player in, so they're prepared to let somebody else go. And in a squad, when you're trying to bring this in, because of the emergency loan window now being abolished for the first time this season for EFL clubs, it's difficult because people are holding on to players. Whereas last season you allow them to go on a couple of months loan to get a bit of experience. That obviously can't happen this year. So they're holding on to squads, and you look at generally across the leagues, the squad sizes have got bigger. Our squad size isn't bigger, from where it was last season. We've just tried to look at it and manage it in a better fashion. But it is difficult. It's a domino effect, and you're waiting probably till the 11th hour. And we had a phone call last night at 10:15 from a club wanting to take a player on loan. And this was at 10:15, and you're thinking, well, why have you not done your business earlier? We got probably all ours done probably by about 8:30, 9 o'clock yesterday. But it is difficult because you might get let down by another player, you might get let down by the club, and the player's got to want to come to you as well. We certainly, with players that we've brought in, both Keane and Tom had options at other clubs, and they could have gone to other clubs. As I said, Keane was on his way to sign for somebody else before he knew of our interest. And Tom, made it abundantly clear that he wanted to come and sign for us. He spoke to David and he said he definitely wanted to come and sign for us, and he didn't want to sign for the London club. So that was something when it just spirals on from that, and we do a lot of work before it comes to that point. But your targets, you've got to remember, you've got 92 clubs who are all looking to try and recruit players at this time, and it's players getting moved around and wanting to hold on. And certainly when the Premier League clubs and the Championship clubs, with the finances they've got available, when they start bringing players in and out, it keeps knocking players down the squad list. So it's a difficult period, and it's a period, obviously, like I said, you're 6-7 games into the season, and you're looking at players, and you've got players that have got injuries. You've got players that a couple of clubs that I know of, they've got injuries now, season-long injuries that they're out, so they've got to bring in other players to replace that. And it is a difficult process to do. So that's probably why clubs leave it very much to the wire to try and see what they can get. And I'm sure now, Bournemouth yesterday got Jack Wilshere. You'd have thought 2-3 years ago would Bournemouth ever get Jack Wilshere? No. And so you look at that, and they've waited till the 11th hour to get that, because obviously Arsenal are prepared to let him go now because they've brought other players in.
Over £1 billion. Has football gone mad?
I certainly think the top level of football is a different league away from us. Even football, you saw likes of Sheffield Wednesday doing transfers of £5 million yesterday for players as well, and there's a lot of money in there. That £5 million would run this football club for 2-3 years. So it is difficult. There's a big gulf between that sort of level. There's a big gulf between the Premier League and Championship as well. So it is difficult. But that's what it is now. It's a business, and you look at the top Premier League clubs, they do treat it as a business, and the revenue that they get in, that they can pull in from the TV money and the sponsorship and commercial deals, it's huge and vast, and it's something that we're trying to get to that level. We're trying to get the commercial aspect to that level, and we're trying to get our hospitality level. As I've talked about, it's very difficult with the facilities we've got here, and that's something that we're working on to try and improve.
4 years in, does this place still surprise you? Is it still as difficult as that first day?
No, it's not as difficult because we've put a lot of procedures in place and improvements in place. I think Carrington has had a big help in that process. I certainly think it's had a big help when we've signed the players that we've signed through the summer, because I don't think we'd have signed certainly these types of players if we'd have been training down at Lower Gig or training at other venues like we was previously. So that's had a big help in for us. It's had a big help with the academy and the youth players as well, developing. So there's certain procedures. The business has moved on tremendously over 3 years, and that's all it's been. And I had to look at that the other day, and I spoke to Glenn Thomas, and we discussed it. And we said, it's only been 3 years ago. Look at the squad difference to when we came in the front door 3 years ago to the squad difference we've got now. look at the players we're developing in our academy and youth system from what we had 3 years ago to what we've got now. And it's absolutely vast. It's huge in terms of it, and it's only going to get better. That's the plan, is we're always looking to get better. So there's always things that surprise us, and there's always things that we have, but you know, for me this year, you know, looking at the clubs that we're going to be playing against and competing against, if you'd have said to us the clubs that we've been able to be in the league and we want to go beat them and we think we've got every chance of going to beat them, that's something that shows how far we've come. And like I said, with what we inherited when we walked in the front door, I do believe the club's completely transformed.
2 Sky games coming up, big crowds. Well, things have changed with the Sky game now.
Yeah, it's something where it's typical. We've got 2 Sky games coming up, so like London buses coming through. It was done at the Chairman's Conference in Portugal, where they decided that football league clubs had a vote in League 1 and League 2 to decide whether, instead of getting money for the TV games, they would actually get it as part of the distribution money as a bit of a guaranteed payment. So we'd accept a smaller amount. We haven't been on TV for several years on Sky, and a lot of clubs voted in favour of that because they wanted the guaranteed money instead of a potential. And you look at teams, I think Burton and Leeds in certain, you know, have had a lot of TV games, and financially it's been beneficial for them, and we didn't have them. So now we've been selected for obviously Bolton on the Monday night, and we're away at Peterborough, but we don't get any income from Sky for them games, and it's something that the Football League decided. So we're hopeful that we're going to get some big attendance for the Bolton game. You know, we've really thought about that and planned it and sat down with the ticket office and the police and certainly the stewarding and the safety officers to think about how can we maximise it and what can we do to try and bring in the revenue. So hopefully our fans will come out in the numbers for that game, and that'll be something to look forward to.
New stadium. I get a lot of people ask me, why are we looking at a new stadium? And the response I've given so far is this place isn't fit for the Championship.
It isn't. It isn't. I mean, you look at the facilities that we've got. You know, we don't have any real sizable function rooms. We don't have any corporate boxes. You go to other venues and other grounds, and they've got match day hospitality, and they're selling 30 to 40 tables. We've probably got the capacity to do 5 or 6. So it's a real difficulty. Financially, we lose a lot compared to other League 1 clubs. And I think we're one of the only few clubs that don't offer corporate boxes, and we can't. We don't have the facilities, and that's a huge revenue stream. But the demand's there. We've spoken to businesses, we've spoken to sponsors, and they would love to be able to take on corporate boxes. And it also gives you a usage throughout the week as well. You know, I know other clubs that we've done research on. You know, they get a lot of non-match day income through different facilities, and it's very difficult for us to do so. We've got a wedding licence now. We've had our first wedding that's been hosted at the ground last year. But again, the facilities aren't fantastic enough to where we wanted to take it to. So for us to bring up the income levels of where we want to be, and for us to be competitive, and for us to where we want to go in the Championship, a ground move is probably the better option. We have a real restriction on parking around the facility here, so that's another issue. And certainly if we're getting bigger attendances, it causes a bit of gridlock around the area, which has been an issue as well. So the council are keen to work with us to move. We've been in lengthy discussions with the council on that, and it's something again where we're trying to get it right. We're trying to get the location right. We understand that's paramount in terms of it, but we're also restrictive on availability of land as well. That's another difficulty. But we want to get it right. We want a venue that people can come to and enjoy and feel part of it. And we did a vote, I think, at the fans forum about, you know, who would be in favour of the ground move, and everybody put their hand up. You know, because I think people have realised that it's served its purpose here. Whilst it's a great stadium, it's going to have fantastic memories and huge memories for everybody as well. I think we've got to realise that times have moved on and times have changed, and you know, the cost of the upkeep of this building, because it is old, it is very costly as well. So it's part of the plan. We want to move forward. We know where we want to be in terms of the club. We want to be competing in the Championship. It would be very restrictive for away supporters as well. And when you get in the clubs that are in the Championship that you wanted to try and come, that's where you want to try and aim for. So it's part of the plan to move, and it's something that we're working hard behind the scenes to do.
How far down the line now? Have you got plans drawn up? Have you got a site marked?
We've got a couple of sites marked. We're in discussions with one landowner at the moment to try and see if we can work something out. And we'll hopefully, when that gets, if we think it's a goer and we can get it secured, then we'll publicly come out. But we're going to try and consultate, obviously, with the fans. We're going to have open forums to discuss it. We've got the design that we've had a bit of a look on a design about how that would feel. So there's a lot of work that we're doing behind the scenes to try and take that forward as well. And it is in its infancy with it, but we hope it is a key project for us, and it's something that we're trying to hopefully be able to announce something in the next few months about the plans and moving forward.
You got some sort of timescale on moving into a new stadium?
No, not at the moment, because it is key in terms of securing the land. Planning is going to be a big planning policy. We're going to have to go through. So we'll probably try and map that out at a time, and once the land has been secured, and once we know, yes, we can actually do something there. So we're working very closely with the council, and they've been a great support to us at the moment, trying to help us with what we're doing, and they see that it's probably right for the town to get a brand new stadium. So it's exciting for me. It's exciting to be part of, but there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes at the moment.
Last point from me was the Checkatrade Trophy, the new format, the league, 3 to 4 team league, the under 23 side. Is that going to work?
I don't know. It's a trial basis for this season. It's something where the league have tried to bring a bit of something extra to it. They've got extra money from the Premier League that's coming in now to bring these teams in for the under 23 age groups, and I'm not sure. I think it's just a trial and error basis from it. So it'll be interesting to see. I was pleased that we was the ones that got to play Stoke at the Britannia Stadium, because I think that's great for us to go to a Premier League ground, and I also think it's fantastic for our players to play in a Premier League facility as well. So that can never do no harm, and I think Stoke, when they played Bradford City tonight, players like Charlie Adam was playing as well. So it's going to be interesting to see, because they can put a few overage players in there as well. But it's going to be interesting. Financially, the tournament's a lot better than what it was. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out over the next few weeks. But I have to say, the fans on Tuesday night were excellent. They really got behind the players, really got behind the teams. It was great when I heard them singing people like Zelly Ishmael's name and Jacob Millis's name, and that was fantastic for us, and that's what we want. We want to create the atmosphere here. And
They struggled with the maker.
Yeah, I think we all did. But we want that atmosphere. We want them to get behind the team, and that's something that I'm really grateful to the fans, because when you get that support, and and getting behind the team, it makes a big difference. And singing the names of the players, and it gives the players a lift, and I know that for a fact, because I speak to the players, and it's fantastic when they're hearing the name being chanted from the crowd. And we want to try and create a special atmosphere, and it's going to be a big game against Port Vale on Saturday. They've started really well. Obviously we all know Tom Pope from there, but Pope he's a brilliant player, and he wants to win the game, and we want people to get behind the lads and come down Saturday in the numbers and really make a difference, and we thank every supporter that's coming down, and I look forward to seeing them on Saturday.
Just something you touched on there, that fans singing players' names. Spoke to Zelly after the game. Just briefly, he said that was great. I've never had fans sing my name before.
Yeah,
and he's been around a bit.
Yeah, and it means a lot to Zelly. I mean, he's only young. You've got to remember, he has been around, and it seems like he's young, and it was surprising, because James Vaughan's 28, and he feels like he's been around for years, because probably he scored the youngest Premier League goal in history. So you forget the age group of these players, and Zelly's only young, and he's still developing, he's still learning. I thought it was fantastic on Tuesday night. But I know it meant a lot to him when the fans were singing his name, because he's never had that really before. And so when he was going over and taking corners, and a group of supporters are singing his name, he was absolutely made up with it. So it does mean a lot to these players. It makes a big difference to them. And certainly when it makes them, it does make a difference, Gordon. And it's great for us, and the fans were excellent on Tuesday night, and we thank them for coming down, and we look forward to Saturday and the rest of the season to get behind the lads and support them on, because that's what we need. We need the support, and we need to keep on getting behind the team.